Greetings, hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to DevChatter. My name is Brendan, and this channel here is DevChatter. Now, I understand that you see a game up on the screen. Don't worry, we are going to be doing some programming today, not game playing. This, of course, is Visual Studio. This is Final Fantasy VII, a game that came out in the late 90s. And this program above my head is our WPF.NET Core 3 application that we've been building here. So welcome everyone. We're going to be doing some interesting stuff today. This is actually going to go more towards general programming stuff and less towards the game development side of things. And not that our stuff's really game development, it's more like game messing with, so it's a bit of understanding of how the game is developed in that stuff when we are working in it. Let's see. A couple of things that I do want to make sure I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. First off, welcome. If you are new here, feel free to ask questions. We are a fairly welcoming community. If you're watching this in a recording, say on YouTube or here on Twitch in the videos section, hello, person in the future. Hopefully things are nice. We are currently working on a... how to phrase this? An application that gives chat interaction to an old game. Now, I might try to make it so that we can do the same kind of thing for other games, because I think that could be a cool and interesting project to see how we extrapolate what we built that is like obviously designed for Final Fantasy VII and how we open that up to, say, connect to other games, whether it be games like Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy VIII, or whether it be a different genre, say like an action RPG, like connecting it to Diablo, so you could do almost like a man versus stream style approach. So there are definitely some interesting things that we could do with this code that we're writing. Now, a lot of the stuff that we end up doing ends up tying into general programming concepts that we all run into anyway. For example, the challenge that we have right in front of us right now... Actually, why am I doing this? Hang on. There we go. We need some entertainment on the screen next to me while we do this. So, obviously, because we're allowing chat to send us messages, we can receive messages at any point. So this is similar to web development in this concept, in that people can hit your website at any point, so you end up with a lot of different threads going at the same time. So multi-threaded applications are just kind of the way things work in modern development, so we just kind of have to deal with it. So obviously there are some solutions for this kind of thing that are built into our programming language and framework. We're using C# and .NET Core for anyone that is new here. We're running .NET Core 3 and C# 8, which of course that is a preview, and even the WPF like functionality that we're using is .NET Core only, and again is also like really early bits, so none of this is like finalized stuff, but we're having fun with it and it's kind of cool. So, what's the challenge we run into? So obviously, if you were paying attention to the chat, a little bit ago I typed in the command rainbow and this started happening. Now, if someone were to give a command that changed the chat color, say they really wanted to change us back to a specific set, so let me just try putting that in there. So see, we get this blinking effect. And the reason that's happening is it's trying to do two separate color palettes at the same time. And so we want to prevent that. Sorry about the flashing, I just wanted to show what is going to happen. Yeah, so that's why what we need to do now is we need to build it so that these commands come in order and one gets completed before we start the next one. So essentially to do that, what we're going to build is almost the synchronization of our async code that we've already got here. So we're going to take whatever we get from people. Obviously, we're handling that in a multi-threaded way, and what we're actually going to say is, hey, let's add this to the set of operations that we're supposed to do on menu colors. So essentially, if two people send in menu commands saying to change the colors, we'll just put them as the next thing in line that we're supposed to do. So that's the idea. Okay. Now, obviously, a couple of things have to happen at that point. Because these are transaction-based, and we need to make sure that we have received payment for them, because streamers can actually set an amount of money that is required in order to change the menu color. So that's sort of the way that the streaming community can try to monetize their game playing by saying, hey, I'm gonna provide the chat with this new feature, and it's a way of supporting the streamer at the same time. So it both makes it fun for the viewers and also helps to support the streamers that are gaming and things like that out on Twitch. So as I really like Rainbow Mode, to be honest. I do expect that someone will probably turn this on and just run with their stream with Rainbow Mode turned on. I am tempted to just have this be a feature that can just be always running, so we'll see. Yeah, so the Rainbow Mode is really cool because it just keeps on going, and it looks really cool while you're playing like this, actually. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I am going to stop Rainbow Mode from running because we don't need it. And one of these days I'm going to end up saying Rainbow Road instead of Rainbow Mode, but meh, what are you going to do? So all I did to make sure that it kept going was just told it, like, hey, just keep on switching colors for like 10,000 times. And this is not the final way that Rainbow's going to work. Basically, all it does right now is just say, hey, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And that's fine. It does work. We're going to want to make some changes to it, though. But before we do that, I'm going to want to extract out this logic. Sort of. So the question in chat there, we have a couple of options. So yes, it is very likely going to be a queue, but it is not going to be a queue of the commands. What instead we're going to do is a queue of, they're going to be actions. Now, the problem we run into is the words I really like to describe these concepts. Remember how we said naming is hard in programming? I like the words action and task. Those, in my brain, make sense. We want to queue up a sequence of actions, or we want to queue up a sequence of tasks, and things like that. So the problem is, C# task, like that's a thing. That's async await, you get back tasks. So meh. So C#'s kind of already grabbed that one from us. And by C# I mean .NET, sorta, kinda, because the task is the type. So we don't get task. We can't use action either because .NET's also taken that one away from us because actions and func, because action and func are two types of encapsulation of logic that already exist, and we don't really want it to be an action per se. We're going to want this to be an encapsulated object because we both want to have the state that they requested, so we need to have the data that we want to have happen as well as the action that's supposed to be taken. So I see a couple of options here, and I think the route that I'm going to go is, well, we'll figure out the name. Let's make the type. So first off, let's encapsulate it and have these do the action. So the code's still going to have the same problem it does today, but we will have moved the logic elsewhere, so we have consistent structures for how this is going to work. So step 1, make a folder, and I'm going to call this menu colors. We didn't make a section that is very specific to menu colors because we have more than one feature relating to menu colors now. I'm figuring we'll probably have like, a couple of different things that you could do for this. So menu colors, and let's create, ooh, actually, do we want to do it here? What are we gonna call it? Alright, here, let me make this first. I don't know if this is gonna be menu colors. Let's make this workloads for now. Workloads, iWorkload. So maybe this instead of task. So we make an object of this type, and it literally just has a void run method. I could, so thoughts that are going through my head, I could see in the future maybe doing something along the lines of like a Boolean value or some kind of a response or something like that, because I could maybe see some kind of a workload that goes back into the queue. So essentially it would be like it does its repetition not by just having its own loop, but by being a process that's supposed to get run multiple times. So we could do something along those lines. Oh, I forgot I didn't have my white space turned on. But that's sort of the line I'm thinking right now. So let's create a derived type, and this will be a color change. So menu color change workload. So this represents work that needs to be done by I almost want to call it like the menu color coordinator, or the menu color something like that. Coordinator is a word that I kind of like for that one, because it's sort of like coordinating the tasks that we need to do. So I think coordinator makes sense, because its whole responsibility is, hey, grab the second one. It doesn't actually do any work. It does no work itself. It just coordinates others, like when they're allowed to do their work. So it's not really a scheduler per se, it's just coordinating them because there's not a schedule, right? There's not like a time when it's supposed to happen. So, because it doesn't manage them, it doesn't schedule them, it coordinates them. It just makes sure that they go in order when it's their turn. So, naming things is hard. That's just and like literally that's just like a name off the top of my head. Maybe someone's got a better one. Yeah, menu color coordinator scheduler singleton factory. That is a very good name, Miha, but you forgot to put object on the end, because we need to know it's an object. That is, of course, a joke. Of course it's an object. But the rest of the name is perfect. Also forgot Q. Yes. I did forget about the Q. Okay, so for now, let's actually just make this a workload coordinator. Because maybe what we'll do is we'll make a workload coordinator for the menu colors. What's your opinion on C# 8 features? There are a lot of C# 8 features that I really enjoy, that I think are very, very good. I feel like they want to bring functionality from functional programming and make it less painful for people that have functional programming habits. No, that's totally valid. So what you might have missed is that C# has been adding in functional programming concepts basically since like version 3.5. Like, you know, go way back, and C# has basically been like every single version every single major version at least has pulled in at least one functional programming thing into it. So that has absolutely been there. Quite good. Okay, so this, to do, add a queue of the workload objects to execute one at a time. Okay, so let's say to do, this is going to be, actually I'm just going to say queue of the workload objects to execute one at a time, and method to add, and start if not already running. Okay, so a couple of things about the coordinator. I do not want it running as a background process. I do not want it running as a background process. In addition to that, I do not want it running as a background process. And the last thing I want to make sure is perfectly clear, I do not want it running as a background process. No, but in all seriousness, my intention with this is, because we already have background processes watching chat, my intention with this is that when you call this, if there is nothing in the queue, it'll add this item to the queue and start. If it's already working on something, it'll add it to the queue and we'll just disconnect and go away. And so the idea being that it is a background thread that it's running on, but it ends as soon as it's out of work. So if there's not an additional task, I want this thread to stop, to be freed up and available until it is needed again in the future, so that we're not like, basically perma-stealing this thread to just exist spinning in the background waiting for the next thing. Don't want that. Just want it to say, hey, there was another task that came in while I was working on this one. Okay, we'll get to that one next. And then when I'm out of them, I will end. And so that's kind of how I want the workload coordinator to work. So if you are planning on sticking around and actually helping us figure out how we're going to code this, then yeah, start mulling that over in your head and start thinking about how we're going to make that happen. Because we're going to do that and see what we end up with. Okay, so menu color change workload. There's a couple of ways we can do this. So first off, one other thing I don't want to do is when we're in rainbow mode and it's doing the just constant transition of color just all the time, just continuously changing to one color to the next color and then another color. We want to make sure that we don't do that by creating this giant mass collection of data. Now, realistically, even if we create 10,000 of those, that's not very large. The challenge would come in is if you really did have thousands of people adding different things, it could get a little bit messy, but we really don't want to go down that road. Hang on, let me check chat here. Null references are great. I disagree, they're terrible. I think they want to bring good functionality. Some of them are from functional programming because functional programming is good. Yes. No. So I do want to point out that a lot of times the way that programming languages evolve is moving towards things that can improve that language in interesting ways. And for as much bashing as object-oriented... So object-oriented programming has a lot of people that love it and a lot of people that hate it, and functional programming has a lot of people that love it and a lot of people that hate it. There are, and those are not the only two either, but the point being that there are good things about a lot of different programming languages and programming paradigms, and I think the best languages are the ones that are bringing in these concepts from languages of a different paradigm and getting to these points where you can do more things with the language. There are more ways to solve the problem. So JavaScript is actually another one of those languages where it's starting to get more concepts out of object-oriented programming pulled into it, and I think they're getting into some really nice places. Does anyone even really do OOP anymore? Seems like JavaScript and the web kind of destroyed it. Coding Gorilla, yeah, actually tons of people still do. There are a lot of companies that their entire systems are still based on object-oriented programming languages. And a lot of people still push it in a lot of places. Because it does have a lot of value. There are a lot of things about it that are good. And I mean, even some of the people that are against strong typing, for example, TypeScript is a language that is designed to bring some of these ideas into the JavaScript world, for example, because you end up transpiling your TypeScript into JavaScript, but it sort of came with some types in it, so hence the name. Okay, so let's make this code work. So menu color change workload. Instead of looking at the rainbow command, let's take a look at the menu command, because this one's a little simpler. So we're going to start here, creating one of these in the and sending it to the workload coordinator. I'm not sure how the communication is going to work. This could be event based. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. Okay, so at some point we decide that we actually want to change. Yeah, okay, so we are doing this menu color changing. And if we look at where this, so here's the way that we built. So we did actually design it this way. It's pretty, which means we can do this based on events. So essentially, what we told the menu command is, hey, when you're done and you've done the extraction. So essentially, when the user has completed their payment, if there was one, and we've made sure that their color selections were all valid, essentially they've done a valid command, and we should change the color of the menu. What we end up saying in the program is, hey, it's time to raise this event. So when this event happens, that's just a trigger that, hey, the menu color is going to change. So this is the payload that comes along with it. That is the menu colors the user who triggered it, and the amount of money that they paid in order to trigger it. Now, the reason we have some of these bits of data, the user and the GIL tied onto this, is that in our program, we might want a way to display this data, so we actually have a spot to do it. We're not actually doing it right now, but we have a way for people to see who's changing the menu color to what, even if you can't see chat. So the idea would be that, you know, if you've got people that are like trolling and putting in like really horrible colors like lime, for example, which, yes, lime is a really horrible color in this program. You might want to know, hey, like someone's been trolling chat, and you can just see that. Okay, so where did we watch for this? We should have been watching for this in the view model right here. And so in the view model, we essentially registered a handler for our menu color changing event. We said, hey, when this event happens, we want you to run this code. And if we scroll down here, you'll see that there is a method that is, of course, handling that. Hey, Crimson. And so this is the code that runs. Here's the trick. This code, I think, should stay in here. This code, I think, should move to our coordinator. So... and by to our coordinator, I mean to our command, essentially. So the workload coordinator, we can do this in a couple of ways. We can either put in the workload coordinator that it watches for certain things to happen and then adds them, and then it itself adds them when these come up. So essentially, we could build a constructor for this and say... domain events dot register. Whoops, I can type register, and we want to register against that event. I think, right? Yep, register for T. And we'll say this. We'll say handle menu color changing. Whoops. Menu color changing. This becomes a method in here. Okay, so what that means is that as soon as the workload coordinator exists, it is going to wire into domain events and start watching. It's just going to sit around and... Crimson Green coming in with the 16-month resub. That is one smiley Chatosaurus right there. What is love? I actually don't have an answer to that question. Love is a very complicated thing. Okay. Thank you for the 16-month streak, by the way. Hang on. That deserves hype. So we will hype up the chat there. Okay, so handle menu color changing. For this, I kind of want to make this method be the thing that creates our workload object. So we'll say to do create workload object, and then call the add and start method. Okay, so that's basically the steps of this code here. And then we can actually handle domain events for the other ones as well. So the rainbow trigger event, for example. So someone triggered a rainbow event. Now, something that I do want to make sure that that I explain about how the domain events work is, while this does disconnect the concept of like having one directly call the other, what it does not do is separate the threads. So right now, the way that our event triggers happen is this all happens on the same thread. So these will happen in order. So we do want to keep that in mind. Okay. Menu color change workload. Move that to its own file. This is going to need to get created with some stuff on it. I don't think I need the interface for now. The construction of this, this could take in either the bits from that object, but I think we'll just have it take in the menu colors. So we'll just do this. So when you create one of these, you pass in the menu colors that it's supposed to change to. It'll save those, and then it is going to run and then disappear. So the menu color change workload. So this is someone has requested a menu color change, and when it runs, we want to take from the view model this this code. Yeah, this code. Run that. Application settings, instance, process name, and it is going to pass in menu colors, and we need to actually have access to the accessor in here, which I guess means we have to give it to it when it's created, because there's not really a better way. So we'll do this then, which is going to will significantly decrease the amount of work done by the view model, making that a lot simpler. Okay, so let's import these types. This is not this, this is this one, so that is that type of logger. Okay, so we have our menu color accessor, and we have our logger just in case, which, yes, this is the annoyance with having done the logger this way, and I'm kind of wishing I'd gone and just grabbed an aspect-oriented programming framework to run instead, because I think it might have gone a little bit easier this way. But we didn't, and I don't feel like going back and changing it. So, underscore logger dot log error, and we are going to log E, and we're going to say error changing menu colors. And then the details of the error will actually be in there. I just wanted to make sure that we have a fairly clear bit of info there, which is that it was menu color error, in case whatever exception's thrown doesn't make that really obvious right away. Okay, so that should make this code work just fine if someone is to call it. So this just needs to get created now at the other spot. Hang on, so this no longer gets called down there. That does still happen, but we should no longer need the menu color accessor, I think. Unless something else does it. Oh, handle a refresh. Wait, handle name refresh? Why is it? That's a bad name. That was a copy pasta issue. We could make the refresh event handle the same thing, but then it would need to handle this. So, two things I want to fix here. So, first off, hey, Jens Duck, welcome. I did not read your message yet. I just saw your name appear. Give me a second because I'm thinking about this. So, I'm going to make that handle color refresh, but then I am actually just going to make this trigger the other one. Domain events, raise, new color, menu color changing. And the menu colors are going to be preview image, right? And new chat user and Gil 0, I guess. So we'll make one of those instead. Hang on. Jens Duck, you had an issue you were going to discuss with me, and lo and behold, you corrected your own error. Oh, that's awesome, Jens Duck. Well done. Hey, Stoolpenner. Greetings, welcome. Your first band was Crimson Iris. Nice. What triggers this refresh? Coding Gorilla. That refresh is triggered by that command. So that is what triggers it. So I am just going to trigger another domain event and just say, hey, yeah. I guess alternately because the reason why I need to do this is that the only thing that has this information of what that value is supposed to be is the view model. So the view model has to trigger this. We no longer need that. We no longer need that. Removing code from here. Still needs to handle menu color changing, still needs to handle the refresh event. Now menu color changing it needs to handle because we need to update the values as they are here. The refresh event needs to happen because only the values here can be used to affect elsewhere, because the values come from in here. And good, that is almost sub 100 lines, so almost where I don't think it's way too big. Okay, we got this, so inside of the workload coordinator, it's gonna get this event. We're gonna create a menu color change workload. So equals new workload, and we're gonna say menu colors. We need the menu color accessor, and we need the logger. So the only way that that works is if they're coming in here. So menu color accessor, and logger of type menu color change workload, I guess. If we're gonna do it this way. Logger. Create a field with that. We'll create a field with this one. We do still need our to-do because we're not doing anything with it yet. So that's underscore menu color accessor and underscore logger. Okay, what do we got? That would be awesome, Jens Duck. Firebrick equals Crimson. Team to change their name to the Blue Ducks, but the Thunder Wolves want Thunder Wolves? We can't all be ducks. Oh, I wore my duck hat. It's not within reach. I'm sorry, Jens Duck. I don't have a duck hat within reach right now. It's downstairs. Okay, so we create the workload, which is really just a reference to an object that was going to exist at all points anyway, because the menu color accessor doesn't go anywhere. Once we've created it, we're supposed to add it. So we're supposed to call the add and start method. Private void add, say add and start, which starts loose here, and this is going to take in an workload, and it is going to say for now, it's not going to do the right thing, and I'm just actually going to say workload.run. Yeah, there we go. Don't do this. Okay, so the node is there. We've changed that. Alright, let's see how many tests broke because I changed that method signature. I didn't compile since we changed the method signature. Because we're just changing these. Oh, good. In that case, I didn't create... No, I didn't create them that way. So, it didn't cause a problem, so... Because I didn't change a method signature, so, like, I mean, I only sorta did. I got rid of one that shouldn't matter. So... There we go. Here's the game. Oh, I should be over here and I should do this. No, that didn't work. So this is changing, but the game is not changing. So that piece we just didn't wire up. Why did? Oh, I know why I didn't wire up. I would like to derp now. So if someone would hit the derp, then yes, that would be very convenient. Thank you, Coding Gorilla. Always appreciated. Thank you for that. Where do we want to create this? Let's go with... So I want to make one of these. What should have it? I guess it could just literally be in the app. That wouldn't be absurd. Hey Gareth, welcome. It doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. I only want one of these things, so I do not want there ever to be more than one of these, so we'll add it as a singleton. Now, who gets this in their constructor, I wonder? I mean, alternately, I just make one, and I don't even bother putting it in here at all. Because the other option is just, like, on startup, just make one and put it in a field and it will live forever. Which is not crazy, I don't think. Added as a singleton could be a band name. That's true. Actually, Coding Gorilla's right. If we add it as a singleton, other things could technically reference it, and it would exist as a singleton that was referenced always by the service provider at that point. Yeah, so we could just make an instance of it that way. The challenge is this, I think. No, because it's using... Yeah, okay, here's services.add singleton. Make it a workload coordinator. I almost forgot. It has dependencies. It needs to get created by a service provider. So we either have to do the same trick where we create one out here. So this gets us our service provider, and so that's where we got our main window from, for example. So I'm going to say service provider.getService. So we're going to get one of these. And I'm just going to store this in a field called the workload coordinator. And we'll just make one. Congratulations, there's a workload coordinator. Yeah, because it's got its own dependencies that we need to actually have it do, we want it created from that. So we'll do it this way, and that, because we connect in the compiler, it'll automatically wire up. So let's have a look and see what happens. Let's find out. connect. There we go. Menu default. Still didn't wire up. Well, let's check the breakpoints now, because I think it at least should exist now. So I'm going to stop it and run it again. We're going to make sure that we actually hit this breakpoint. This thing should get loaded. Should register that event. So, yep, that gets loaded this time. Did I not do anything with it? I didn't call it. Add and start. Workload. That would do it. I'll have my derp now. I like my derp. Before I drop the breakpoint there, let's try this, because we've seen the constructor get called. So menu default. Hey, there we go. Yeah. Looking good. I like it. That'll do it. Okay, so that wired it up. So we now have essentially extracted the logic that actually does a menu color change over into this workload. So this does the actual menu color changing now. Now what I'm debating is whether or not whether I've encapsulated too much in this and we should lessen it and put more in the coordinator. Debating. Because we could limit what's in this and make it so the coordinator has to deal with this stuff and these don't get passed into it. And essentially the concept of menu color changing could exist inside the workload coordinator, and we wouldn't encapsulate it out into these. We could just have, like, here's the future colors that you're supposed to change to, something along those lines. The challenge if we go that route is that then it doesn't handle, what do we do about rainbow, which behaves differently? So let's make a rainbow workload. And we'll see what that looks like. So essentially disconnecting the rainbow command from actually doing any work. That way the command can disconnect and we can have the coordinator deal with this stuff. And now that I think about it, I think the task.run aspect of things should probably happen inside the coordinator. So everybody else just calls that normally. And the coordinator should, basically say, hey, I'm going to go out of, I'm going to go jump onto the separate thread. You go ahead and continue doing whatever it is you were doing, and we'll move that concept over there. So for now, let's go ahead and make this change. So we need another workload. It's just like this one, but different. It's very similar. So this is the rainbow workload. And to be honest, I kind of want to make this be I kind of want to make menu color. I almost want to make a base for like the menu color stuff, but we won't do it just yet. This is a rainbow workload. The rainbow does not need to know the menu colors it's supposed to use. It's going to create them. Because we're going to make the disconnect happen inside of the coordinator, so that's when the task.run is going to happen. That means I don't want it to be in here. I want this to just be running in sequence. So we're going to take this and just put it straight in here. So this becomes the code that runs for a rainbow workload. Okay. So the rainbow command no longer does this. Now what it's going to do is it's going to say domain events dot raise, and it's going to raise a new type of event. And that is going to be a rainbow mode started event is what it's going to be called. And I don't think it needs any parameters of any kind, actually. So let's go to where the menu color changing event is. Slepix, hello, welcome, greetings. Menu color changing event is right here. We're going to put it beside this as a public class. This that is a base domain event, and inside of it, it is going to literally do nothing, which is fine. Move it to its own file. Good. So now inside of the workload coordinator, we're going to register a rainbow mode started. And for that, we're going to handle rainbow mode started. That's a method. This method is going to do the same kind of thing that this did, where it's just going to do a var workload equals new, whoops, not that one, rainbow workload. And it is going to take in the menu color accessor and the logger, and we're going to say add and start the workload. Okay, so that ought to do that as well. Now inside of our add and start, I want to say task.run. For now, we'll just inline it. Like so. We'll move it elsewhere later. Why is it not like this? What's this quickly about? Convert to him. Oh yeah, we could. Yeah, we could, but no. Actually, ooh. Yeah, we're gonna do that. That's fine. Slepix, yeah, hang on a sec. I'll be running the program in a minute, and you'll be able to run that command. Once the code's running, let's see what it does. Remove that breakpoint. We don't need it anymore. So rainbow mode started. Did I make the rainbow command raise that? Yes, it does. Okay. So we'll bring that onto the screen. And the code is live, so first off, does that work? There it goes. There it goes. So those pieces work. Now the real question, does rainbow work? Looks like rainbow's working, because these colors are just changing. So we successfully did rainbow mode here in this one. So essentially the way that rainbow mode works is it is choosing a new color to change to every time after it gets rid of the other one. Did I suggest saying Peerless Top every afternoon? It won't. So those status effects will only apply in combat, and I have to have them turned on. So let me do that real fast. But try it again if you like. Yeah, there we go. So we're not blocking. It's good. We are on that separate thread. It's still responding to commands. So, and menu color is changing quite nicely. Now the problem we're going to run into is if someone does this. See, and I'm going to get that off the screen just in case, because I don't want to be triggering. Sorry, I don't want to be making the screen flash on people, because that's not good. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that so the screen doesn't flash anymore. And here's the color that we just happened to be on when it stopped. Okay, cool. I like it. Good stuff. Welcome, someone. Blues and Code, thank you for that follow, much appreciated. Alright, so let's nuke those. We don't need them anymore. So the command has gotten way simpler. It doesn't even need the accessor anymore. So the command now really is just a... really just exists to trigger that. If we add settings to it or something like that, or add a cost if we enabled it for something like that, that would all get handled here. And then only when it was paid for and confirmed would we trigger the event inside the application. So essentially it becomes anybody can call a command, but only the app can actually run an event like this and trigger something. Okay, let's take a look at the coordinator because we want to prevent that flashing that we were just looking at. So let's put all this in as move menu color. Actually, hang on. Before we do that, let me check one thing real fast. Menu color accessor. I want to make sure that nothing else called this. So set menu colors is done in the accessor and this rainbow workload, menu color workload, and the implementation. Okay, cool. We're in good shape. Those are the only places those are called. Okay. So that means we did things correctly. Let's toss this on the screen. We created that. So move menu color code into workloads. Alright, now that those are in there, let's go ahead and get them in order. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to do this as an actual... do we want to do this as an actual queue, or do we just want to do this as a collection that we take control of? Yeah, I can see both ways. Because we could essentially do like a queue that we lock around, for example. So let's do this as a queue, I guess, and then we'll lock around it. Private, read-only, queue of workloads, and we'll call this workloads. Good suggestion. So these are the workloads we need to deal with. And so then what we're going to say is inside of the add, it's going to be so we'll enqueue adds an object to the end of the concurrent queue. Now that I think about it, we might not actually have to worry about the thread safety of this, because we might not actually get extra threads that hit this. Because if we don't actually go onto a separate thread until this point, we actually might be fine, but I guess it's safer to use this than not. So we'll pass in the workload. Okay, so we add it to the set, and once it's added to the set, we then want to say almost like maybe we'll set a boolean for like is running or something like that. How does the try DQ work? When this method returns, if the operation was successful, result contains the operation. So essentially what we could say is this. Like an if is running equals false kind of thing. Equals false kind of thing. Then just do a while workloads try DQ out I workload out I workload to run task.run. No, because this would stop it. So the while loop needs to be in the to run at that point. Essentially meaning that this needs to come outside of the while loop. And then we're gonna run into a locking issue. I'm already aware of that. We need to deal with that. To run.run. Coding Gorilla. I am assuming that you posted a link that I can't see. What did it do? Returns default of T when there's nothing in the queue, I believe. It's continue with? Essentially, that ends up being like a loop created by effectively almost like a recursive loop at that point. Because yeah. Because it would have to call the same thing that was going to call a continue with at the end of it as well. Yeah, Stool Penner. Nightbot thinks a lot of things are links that are clearly not links. It's the problem with programming streams, I guess. I'm aware I need to fix this at some point. I might switch to that. Alright, the if is running equals false. So here's the challenge. So we need to do that. Let's make the isRunning property. Let's make this field exist. So this is a Boolean value called isRunning, and it's going to start off by being false, obviously. Then we're going to say isRunning equals false. At the end of the task. The task is done. When the task is started, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just say isRunning. Actually, we're going to do that before we get in here. Okay, so we're going to make this be the inner loop check. So let's do this. If isRunning, which I'm actually just going to make them not isRunnings instead of isRunning equals falses. So we're going to say if it's not running, then I want you to lock on a padlock property that we're going to create. So we're going to say field, I should say. Private read-only object padlock equals new object and underscore p padlock. We're going to one single word that. So we're going to make a nice lock here. So if it's not running, attempt to lock. Once you have the lock, check to see if we're running. As long as we're still not running, go ahead and set us to running, because inside of here only one method can be running. So we're going to set it to true. Once we're in here, this will run it on a background thread, so we don't know when this executes. But because we've already set it to true, nothing else should come in here, and anything else should just leave. So I think that will get us doing what we want it to do. Okay. Very good, very good. And it should do the next ones after this one's done. So this adds them to that. I don't know if that's gonna work. Why is this? Oh, yeah, of course, it's redundant because it's the first one. So set true, set false. We're gonna pull them out. I think that might work. Let's try it. Let's find out. Here goes. One way to find out if your code is working is just run it. Alright, connect. Let's see what you do. First off, let's see if it switches back and forth. Oh yeah, look at that. It's going back and forth between them. Looks like it does it. So it's going in order, completing each one and then going to the next one. Which means that if I call random a few times, it's going to look like rainbow mode. Main thread might sometimes get stuck on trying to get a padlock. In what way every afternoon? What case do you think we could run into a problem with this? It's not trying it multiple times, and we're letting go of the lock almost immediately. Both threads pass the first if. One of them locks, and one of them gets the lock. Yeah, nothing else locks on that padlock. One gets the padlock, sets is running. Yeah, no, that's fine. Coding Gorilla, why is the lock pointless? Oh, because we're only in one thread at this. There is only one thread. The other one waits on the padlock and receives it because the first one finishes. The lock is only pointless if we're single-threaded. If there's more than one, it's fine because the background task doesn't lock. Yes, the background task doesn't lock. So the only way we would run into a problem is if something disconnects the... So if a command gets running on a different thread, and we could call this from two different threads. So if two threads could be executing this at the same time, then we would need the lock. Yeah, the background task takes time and it doesn't lock exactly every afternoon. Because the background task is the one that actually does stuff and takes time. As long as it doesn't lock, there's no problem. So the locking step is just the start of, it just says, hey, start the background thread is basically all we do inside of the lock. To make sure that we only start up one background thread at a time is really the idea. So, yep. We got there. So Coding Gorilla. This step right now, I'm pretty sure does just run. It does not run on the UI thread, but it runs in a single specific thread that is the one that triggers out of the IRC responses that we actually get from chat. The challenge is that if TwitchLib ever decides to trigger that based on multiple threads instead of being a single thread, then we would run into a problem. I am not 100% which thread this is on, but I don't think it is the UI thread. Though I guess it could be. I would be surprised by that if it is. Mobabo, greetings, welcome. Yeah, so it's because the actual trigger of this is outside of our control. I'd rather have the lock there and have it never actually be required than to run into a circumstance where we suddenly needed the lock and we were running into problems and multiple, tasks got spun up in some weird case. So since we don't control the code, I'd rather lock. And for anyone that is wondering, this kind of mechanism of doing this double check means that if something's already running, we'll bail at the first if and won't even touch the lock. Once you have the lock, you still need to confirm that state didn't change while you were waiting to get the lock. So that's why you have to do the check before and after the lock, in case that looks weird to anyone. That is fairly standard way of dealing with locking and multi-threads. So, okay. But I'm really glad you all are checking me on that, because I can absolutely make mistakes. It is really, really easy to for all of us to make mistakes. So, thank you for keeping me honest on that and making sure that I'm doing the right stuff for the right reason. Okay, let me make sure our to-do comments are all good. Did we nuke all the to-do comments from this? I think queue the task one at a time. That's gone. We did that. Is running. There's our padlock. There's our workloads. There's our logger. There's our accessor. I think that's all the pieces. So, the cool thing is, let's go trigger rainbow mode and try to put some menu color changes in afterwards, and it should work fine. Is it Coding Gorilla? I don't think it is. Actually, I need to change something about it, but I don't think it's a problem. We're going to shorten rainbow just to do a lot less. So we'll have it change colors 10 times. Because you never stop it? I stop it. We're going to just have it change colors 10 times, so it'll be a really short rainbow this time. But hopefully it will be able to demonstrate the concept that we're going for here. So, rainbow. So it starts rainbowing, and then I want it to go to the Brendan setting at the end. And actually, you know what? When it's done... So the nice thing is, first off, we're going to have it switch between those at the end a couple of times. But the cool thing is, it's not doing the blinking. So the problem we used to have is gone. Okay, goes to Brendan, goes to default, and then goes to Brendan. So that confirms they really are going in order in the queue, and they do run after the rainbow. So run after rainbow. Now that does sound like a band name. So no. No, but Coding Gorilla, at some point I might make a thing where there is a way to, like, configure how long it runs, or make it so it requires someone ending it at some point to have it actually finish. Probably wire it up with a cancellation token or something like that. Don't know. Haven't decided. Either way, that definitely looks like it works. So, let's see. Configurable time. Yes, we do need configurable time. Let's set it back to 100, because I thought that was actually a good amount of time. And then this is queued menu color changes. There we go. So, very neat, very neat. So that is handling menu colors that way. We have that. You know what would be really interesting is, I just had a cool idea for a color palette-y thing. Let me turn this on real fast. I had an idea. And my noggin's going. The brain, it's doing things. Does that every once in a while. It's very strange. Alright. Menu. Blue. Aqua. Aqua. Green. What's this make? Interesting. No, so like, hang on. Maybe aqua green. Maybe aqua green. Navy, blue, aqua green. Whoops, actually that's not the way I wanted to go. I want to do navy, aqua, blue, green, like this. Okay, so here's what I'm wondering. What I'm wondering is, there's an effect I want to create that I think would be really neat. I have an idea. So this is how you're supposed to change the color in the game. You're supposed to do like this. I want this to be much darker over here, like maybe something like this. It's a bit too much green, so let's add a little bit of blue. And then up in this corner, we need... This needs to be more blue than it is green, but still a little bit blue. Kind of like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then up in the top, that's kind of strange that it has a little bit of red in it. Okay, I like that. Alright, so let's pull up, I'll let you all see this handy dandy programmer calculator here, 91. So we're going to say 5B. How much access do you have to the menu colors? Do we as programmers control the four corners? And can we do it on a pixel-by-pixel basis? Gareth, technically we could maybe do that, except the game has built in the concept of this blending already. So we don't really get control of that. We can really only control the four corners without modifying the code of the game, which we're not doing. We're modifying the memory of the program, not the code of the program. So we're being very careful about how we do that. Regarding some other games, so I mentioned in the beginning of this stream that we are doing this for Final Fantasy VII, but I have a way to do it for Final Fantasies 8 and 9 that is going to be more interesting, because 8 and 9 are actually doing it based on images that exist within the program. And so what I want to try to do is figure out where in memory it is storing that image and see if we can't replace its data with our own, which would be like really mind-bendy craziness, because we could put in anything we wanted. So if we could do that, that would be really neat. If we did it pixel by pixel, it would be fun to play. Yes. So, Gareth, I mean, if we could do pixel by pixel, we could, you know, draw whatever we wanted in there. At which point I certainly would not give that access to chat. Just saying. Just saying. I know what shape that chat would draw. Someone somewhere would figure out what pixels or something needed to be to draw that shape in on someone's stream. Wouldn't go well. Wouldn't go well at all. Okay, so anyway, so that is menu, and let me go ahead and type this out. So this is going to be menu. So that's red, so that's 5B. So there's our top left. The next color is going to be red of 0 and a green of 98. So what is 98? 98 is 62. 62. And a blue of 157 is 9D. That's 9D. And then that is 0, 0. And 107 is going to be 6B. Switch to hex, please. Thank you. 78 is going to be 4E. And then the final color is this one here, which is going to be 0, 0, and then, hey, 128. Let me just make sure I don't off by 1 that. 80. Okay. I'm like, I could easily off by 1 this if it's like, you know, 81 or 79 or something like that. I didn't want to screw it up. That's the kind of thing where it'd be so easy to be off by 1, so... Alright. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. You know what I just did? Do you know what I just did? Oh yeah, no, I agree, Gareth. Yeah, you certainly don't want to get the DevChatter logo on there. That was an awesome troll, Gareth. That was good. Oh yeah, they totally put that DevChatter logo all over the place. Alright, so I just converted those because I'm an idiot every once in a while. I don't think we need to do that. Okay, so let me start building the thing that I think would be cool. So let's do this. This is going to be Mako colors workload, and I hope people see where I'm hoping that some of the people see where I'm going with this. I don't know that everyone's gonna see where I'm going with this, but some people might. Private static list of menu colors. We'll call this Mako colors equals new list of these. Get rid of that. Okay, new menu color. Here's the Mako colors, and we're gonna say for each Mako color, menu colors. Very good. Okay, so whoops, this is menu colors. So we'll do that for now. Read only. Yep. I see a function object there, but I don't play... You see a function object there, but you don't play Final Fantasy? What are you talking about, Gareth? You are correct. This is that is basically what this is. Yeah, I will not call you wrong about that. That's basically what this is. Okay, so alright, so what is this? Bottom right is the one I'm currently on, is from ARGB, that is going to be 0, 128, 0. The bottom, which actually, I'm going to do this in the correct order. This is going to be the bottom left. Is going to be color from ARGB, and it's going to be 0, 107, 78 is what we put in here. So top left, top right. Top right is 0, 98, and 157. And then the last color is 0091. Okay, so there's the colors that we sort of went with as our initial Mako color. I kind of want to give a bit of a range here, so I want it to flow. Yes, you understand the code, but you don't know where I'm going because you don't know Final Fantasy VII. So, yep, that is totally legit. How do I add Mako to my dictionary? This should be on this solution level and shared with anyone that uses this project. Mako is a word, or Mako if you say it that way. I don't care which way you say it. I am accepting of all variations of that. Okay, so let's make a command for that real fast. So over here in Twitch commands, I am going to make a command that we're going to call the Mako command. Class Mako command. And this is going to be a... Whoops. Yeah. Base command. Implement missing numbers. Yep, that's fine. We'll nuke this one, even though it didn't really matter which one we nuked. There we go. The command word selector is going to be new that array that says Mako. There we go. And x equal x arrow true. And then in this one, no, not that one, Coding Gorilla. Different one. Definitely nothing to do with. Well, I guess it's almost sort of has to do with the military in the game. That's hard. That's getting into a complex area, though. Ooh, I am debating whether or not I want to do something differently already. Rainbow mode started. Dupe. This will be Mako mode started, we'll say. Move to its own file. The Mako command is going to do a if command data dot user is broadcaster. If it's not, actually, you know what? Anyone can do this for now. Congratulations, everyone. You all have the power of Mako. Domain events. There we go. Restrict it or add a cost. New Mako started. Okay. Yes, if you knew what the power was. I mean, you sort of know what it is. I'm going to do something with colors. Inside of here. Make a colors workload, menu, color accessor, logger. Good enough. Workload, Add and start workload. Okay, there we go. Lastly, I need to go into here, and I need to specify where is the rainbow command? The Mako command. Okay, so obviously right now this does almost nothing. So I don't want that one. Where is the Mako color workload? Right here. That's why I couldn't find it. I didn't put it in its own file yet. Now I'll be able to find it. Okay, so inside of here we created this color. How do we want to have this move? Maybe we'll have everything darken a little bit. So like, you know, 130. We'll have everything get a little bit more blue to start with on this side. Oh, actually, you know what? I said darken. So this will be 70. We're going to remove some of that. And what the? Remove some of that. Remove some of that. Yeah, about that dark. And then even this is going to darken a little bit. And then I'm going to let's have color shift in from the let's have green shift in from the bottom left. And shift to the right. So then this will go back to this color, we'll say. Actually, we'll have it shift up to the top right. Something along these lines. But not quite that bright. Maybe like that. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, I'm gonna try this real fast. I want to see what it does. Let's take a look. Okay, so I need to mess with the colors a little bit more. I need to make everything bluer than it is. Everything needs to be bluer. There's a lot less green in here, way more blue. This is the problem. Since I saw you using calc, never copy from the calc in Windows 10. Blue spied. So I didn't copy from it, but I'm wondering why would I not want to copy out of the calculator in Windows 10? Is there a problem with it? Oh, yeah, it also does some weird displays, like sometimes it'll put a space in between segments of stuff, I have noticed. Um, whoops. 90 and... Was messing with you a whole day until you found out. Yeah, that sounds about right. I want to see what this looks like. Oh my god, that was hilarious. I have a minor bug I need to fix. Just noticed it with the names. When it loaded in the names, it stepped through all the names. Whoops. Name bids cloud. That's why it stepped through Knifer, Stabby, Spiky, Blondie, and then switched to Brandon. Which, by the way, Cloud, Brendan, way better name. Way better name. We fixed it. Okay, so first things first, let's switch us back to default. So there we go. Okay, so Mako comes in. I want it to just kind of look like a Mako glow down on the bottom, where we're getting a little bit of shift. I think we put too much green in the upper right when I shifted to that. I think that's the only real problem. We just got a little too green up there in the upper right when we shifted the green to the upper right. So that would be this one, where maybe you only go to like 80. So it's definitely greener, but not as green. So it's like toning down the blue almost. Alright, so let's... You know what we could do? This would be hilarious. Someone's going to shoot me over that, but that's fine. Makes it work for now. We're just trying to see if an effect looks cool in the game or not. So there's the program running like this. First off, let's shift the color back. So we had a standard color. Someone comes along, they type in Mako, and then we get this kind of Mako color over here. And yeah, so I wanted it to look like it's kind of pulsing and changing while you're in here. Like, almost to the point of, like, someone watching is one, like, they're like, wait, is it shifting? So I want it to be, like, moving around, but you can't totally tell if it's, yeah, so it kind of glows. That is neat. That is neat. I don't know if Strife or Sooner or anybody's in here, but that's just, like, a cool little effect there. Because it just kind of does, like, the little Mako glow at the bottom of the screen the whole time you're playing. Because it's shifting it around. Oh, that is awesome. I like that a lot. That is a really, really nice bit of color there. Yeah. Yeah, when I started talking about Mako, I thought someone might have figured out what I meant, but that is kind of the cool thing. Like, if you made this a persistent effect, that it just did Mako at the bottom of the screen for a while. The cool thing being that you could actually do Mako, and then say, like, you know, menu default when it was done. So then, like, it would do this Mako effect, and then when it's done, it would run that. Sorry, it should be going right now, but I don't have the screen. Nothing runs in Final Fantasy VII if the screen isn't focused. The game actually pauses. So if you ever notice that things aren't updating, and then I'll click in, and then it starts updating again, that's why. So... I think it was yesterday on stream, Crimson Green yelled at me for being, like, almost 5 hours in and still being at the Shinra building. the funny part about that being, it's like, well, yeah, because I sat around at places messing with stuff. Because, like, I sat around in the first reactor doing a lot of testing there as well at one point, and so it's like, yeah, when you sit there for an hour and then save after you've been messing with this stuff, yeah, your character sat still while you messed around in the menu changing its colors from Twitch chat. Like, what do you expect my timing to be? Like, it's gonna be terrible. So, kind of funny. We did some combat testing and stuff like that too, but yeah, we barely got anywhere in the game because I keep sitting around messing with the menu colors. But no, that is good stuff. I like it. So let's get rid of that for loop that I put in, because we don't need to do that loop 10 times thing. That's kind of silly. Well, actually, we'll leave it in for now. There's Mako. That required too many steps. I need to adjust how we do that. I think I want to change how our domain event and everything works. Add a Mako method. Undo. Add a Mako Mode command. I actually need to make those modes like run indefinitely until they're ended or something like that, or decide how long they're supposed to be, and certainly make it configurable if it is a length of time that we remain in Mako mode. Very cool. That was effective. I like that. Okay, so we've got our code that deals with that. Yeah, so the challenge there every afternoon is that if someone specifies that in the command, we have to decide how much that costs then. So there's got to be some kind of a thing for that. I'm thinking we make the streamer decide how long that is. So make it a configuration within the application. The streamer decides how long it is. And if the person wants rainbow mode to last longer, they just do the rainbow mode. Like maybe they set it to last 30 seconds. If you want it to go more than 30 seconds, you just trigger rainbow mode 3 times in a row and it'll go 90 seconds, for example. So that way we can have both a configurable cost and a configurable amount of time. And I think that would work. So that gets into like, figuring out, user case, things like that. So it doesn't apply perfectly to our live coding stream, of course, because we're more focused on writing the code, less focused on really the user aspect of it. But there's some cool effects we can still do. So okay, so that actually was pretty nice. I like that. Good stuff. We're committed, right? Yes, we committed. Okay, so let's talk about this application. We are changing the color based on those values. We sort of did a Mako one. I almost want to have some way of calculating that Mako effect, so instead of just being switched between 4 colors, we're actually shifting around in a more natural way instead of just 3 colors I just picked. Other things to consider are whether or not we should we could potentially make all of those color palettes, for example. Something else that we talked about doing, because as many of you probably know, obviously it's not up on the screen, but those are static color palettes, like Brendan and default. For example, default goes to the default one, Brendan goes to the Brendan color palette. But someone else might want to do their own color palettes, and by someone else I mean like a streamer might want to have a named color palette for their own thing. So having a named color palette is something we've talked about for a while. We could look at doing that. Don't know. It's a good question. Well, while I'm thinking about it, a couple of things I do want to mention for anyone that is in chat and doesn't know. We actually have a community Discord here, which is a place where you can chat with me and the rest of the community members. No, I'm not ending right now. I'm going to toss a link to our Discord, link to our GitHub down below the stream, and links to our YouTube channel as well. So something I don't think I've mentioned yet on this stream, I started a new video series that is called DevChatter Basics, and the goal of DevChatter Basics is to, I guess, either reinforce or just teach a lot of the basic concepts in the programming languages and stack that we use. So the first video that I did was just a video on extension methods, because I thought that would be just a fun one to do. So I did extension methods. The two videos I'm working on right now are for types in C#, and then the other one I'm working on is interfaces in C#. I originally had that as one video, but types got a little bit bigger, and I decided that it would probably make sense to split them into separate videos and suggest that people watch types and then watch interfaces. So at the beginning of interfaces, I'll mention the types one, because I think you should have a good understanding of types before you start talking about interfaces. But I know that we've had some questions that have come up on stream, even recently, with people that were wondering how that stuff worked. And I think a good foundation in understanding what types are and how they work in C# can really help you use the language. And that goes, and it really does go beyond C# too. So specifically, we're talking about how they're implemented in C#, but if you know the concept from C#, you can see it applied elsewhere also. So there's value to developers in understanding these ideas. So, okay. Types are simple. They are just, you know, the foundation of the world. Yes, Wheatlaw, that's pretty accurate. They're kind of the foundation of all the stuff that we do. So it's kind of hard to avoid them, but actually knowing what they're doing while you're using them is a separate story. Because I don't think everybody does know what they're doing. Yeah, so CodeMonkey Dave. We will absolutely be doing some videos on various architectures, as well as we're going to be doing videos on just some other simple concepts. So we'll probably talk about like enumerables and things like that at some point. We'll probably talk about design patterns. We're going to talk about certainly we're going to have a bunch of stuff on lambdas and LINQ at different points, only because they are too popular within C#. That is unimportant, I think. My phone buzzed, and yes, that's unimportant. Okay, you know, I saw a bug when this application was starting up. I don't know if anyone else saw the bug. Watch this character name. Watch the name Brendan. Make sure you're paying attention. It's gonna be fast. Really? It didn't happen this time? Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because I didn't have it focused. Maybe it lost focus. It didn't do it this time. Of course it didn't do it this time. Did it previously? Yeah, this is not the bug I'm looking for. Hang on. It's not connected to chat, Janiscu. You'd see it say Interactive 7 is live when I connect it to chat. Yeah, it doesn't happen when you're looking at it. Name accessor. Let's find out. We're gonna check how many times it sets the character name when it starts up. So I saw it blink the character name and cycle through it one time when we were running this. So it's setting the name Brendan. Is that the only name it's setting? Now it's setting gun hand. Why did it set... so it only set those. So it didn't set it multiple times. Why did it do it previously then? It did before. I7 remove Brendan. Isn't that the command? I think that's the command. Oh, it's disconnected. Right. Yep. I told Janiscu, you can't run commands until it does that. Now it changes the name to Brandon. That's good. So I saw the bug when Brandon was the name, so I'm wondering maybe it's an ordering thing then? We'll try switching it and see what happens. Sword guy, what? Knifer, what? Here it is. Here's the bug. Yeah. Blondie. Brandon. Gun hand. Yeah, see? See? There it is. The bug exists. Let's get rid of that breakpoint so you can watch it happen. Watch the name real closely. Swordgeist, look, and you see it cycle through the name. So that's actually what I saw, and I was like, uh-oh. We're running those when we're not supposed to. So I think what's happening is that we're triggering an onChanged on those, because I bet we set a property instead of setting a field when we were initializing or something along those lines. Oh my god, I wonder if it's on load. Alright, here's how we're going to find out. I'm going to drop the breakpoint here. I should say not load, populate. It's on populate. It's setting store. You know, load from JSON right here. We're not, I mean, this was already broken, Janiscu. We didn't break it live. It was already broken. Alright, let's see if that happens before we hit that. Okay, we hit that. And we still haven't hit the other one yet. So, when did this get triggered? What's the call stack look like? Yeah, so it's saying this collection changed. On collection changed. Oh, it's loaded. Yeah, it's loading the previous data. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. So we clear it out. We grab all the names. Okay, right. I was looking in the wrong place because I was being dumb for a second. I derped this. That is not even the right spot at all. Okay, so we're loading these in. I was right that we are triggering an onChanged event. The challenge is that we want to insert these then. So if we are going to trigger this based on a collection, we have two options. We can either disable the property changed events, so the notifications essentially of a change happening. So we can either disable that, or our other choice is that we can make sure that the correct answer is loaded in first. So essentially taking in the name bids, card names, all name bids where the character name is that. So that's going to be the set. But then we want to order by descending. If we did it this way. our names for car equals this. Names for car order by the total descending bids. So the first one added would always be the top one, so it would only trigger the change one time, effectively doing our initial load for us by putting in the name that it was supposed to be. So herpaderp devchaderp. Herpaderp devchaderp. So now, since it should sort them, Brandon should just get set, and then the others should never happen. Brandon, and then gun hand, and then the others don't happen. There we go. And we could confirm that somehow if we want, but fix name loading bug. Fix non-top name loading bug. So it is now only the top one that gets loaded, which is what we want. Did we use this anywhere yet? Oh, hey. Did I switch to actually using these? I don't think I did. Hang on one sec. Alrighty. Here's what we're gonna take a look at. So I want to see if we've saved these color palettes, because this is how we make it so that someone can just use a named color palette. Oh, so this is using the name. Oh, hey. Actually, maybe we are using this. In the menu command, got special color, either random or by name. We're already using it. Nice. Go me. Alright, so if we're already selecting our color palettes by name using these, did anybody else notice that Strife98 is in chat? Strife has a menu color palette in here too. Yeah, see, there's Strife. What is equals in? Every afternoon. That's a fantastic question. I will show you what that is really fast. That's just an extension method. It does this. It is shorthand for I want to do a case insensitive equals comparison between strings. So, yep. That's all it is. Shorthand. Yep. Because it is not always fun to have to write the string dot equals string comparison ordinal ignore case thing. And it's like, yeah, okay. It gets old really quickly. Okay, so I'm trying to think of how we want to do this. I'm debating between two things. We can either make it so that there are chat commands to add in additional color palettes, at which point a moderator could create one, or we could add in a part to our WPF application that did the same kind of thing, and either one of those would be fine. So either one should work. One concern I have with putting it in the WPF application is that it's sometimes nice for moderators to be able to create things, and I really don't want the user of this application to have to spend too much time in there, but it's hard to say. Yeah. Well, let's do this then. Let's make the command, and maybe we'll also give it a UI. So we'll make a palette command. Class palette command. And I am going to show all of you how incredibly nice a person I am here in a moment. Incredibly nice. And you'll understand why and probably laugh about it here in a moment. Okay, so first things first. I don't have a setting for this, so it's just enabled. To do, add settings for this. The next thing I'm going to do, and here's the nice part. I'm going to say new collection, and we're going to say palette. Palette, palette, and palette. So when inevitably someone, especially a non-native English speaker, has to remember how do you spell palette, which letter is there two of, they don't actually have to remember will accept any of those. Now, the other option is building in a service that just automatically does those kinds of checks where there's like, hey, you were kind of close, we figured it out here, and essentially making it kind of fuzzy. But, plate. Yes. Wheatlow, yes, we could do a fuzzy search kind of thing. You are absolutely correct. We could fuzzy search these. Now what do we do with this? So, for a palette command, we have a couple of options. We could make individual commands. We could make it so that, like, new palette did one thing. We could make it so that list palettes did something. I like the idea of palette having a parameter in it. So we could do, like, palette space add space and then the palette. We could do palette space list and things like that, essentially parameterizing the command. Yes, sweet lol. I agree. It would probably be nice to implement a nice fuzzy search on all the bot commands to just make it friendly about that stuff. Something to toss in the backlog. I agree. Would be nice. The question then would be, since we do want to allow people to control what these command words are, how that fuzziness plays in. And I don't have a good answer on that one, but you might. Okay, so let me do this. Command data. Arguments. First or default. And we'll call this variable the operator. Whoa. The operation, apparently, because operator is a keyword. Thanks, Brendan, for remembering that in C#. Operation. Case that break. Now, whether or not we do this as simple cases or whether we structure it some other way, I don't know yet, but... Okay, so... Actually, do we even need a default case? If it doesn't match one of these, we'll just bail. So this would have to be spelled correctly. Question mark dot to lower. Because a null value would still bail out because it wouldn't match. Okay, so in the list case, we would say something like show current palette list. There we go. Alright, next thing. Whoops. That. Instead of list, what do we want to have? So there's new. Add. Create. New, add, create. Those all work. And this, instead of being show current palette list, would be create new palette. And this would be command data gets passed in. Okay. So this would be creating a new palette. And what do we want to do? So anyone could list the existing palettes. All show L for that matter. Create new would need to be like mod only or something. Do check permissions against settings. Do create palette. Case help. Question mark. Help or question mark. Those need to do something. Show current palette list. To do. Get all palettes. Display. Primary name. So display only the primary name of the palettes. We don't want to show like the color or anything like that, because that's going to be a little bit too much detail, I think. I think we just want to show that. And then display help text. Yep, there we go. Okay, this needs an Twitch client. Twitch client. Which we are going to save there. So that gets us our Twitch client that we're going to use to be able to send messages. So help text should just be able to do that one. So this is send message to the channel, which is going to be... You know what? We're going to pass in the command data. Command data channel, and this is going to be good call. We should do that by default. If you didn't match one of the others, do this. Or list current available palettes, or add new ones. Add a new one. So this would be okay, exclamation point palette. And see, it's yelling at me right there because it's like, hey, wait a minute. That's just a variable. Why are you, like, that's just a raw string. Why are you putting that in there? To which I'm like, it's there because why not? No, it's there because we're going to extract it at some point. And actually the exclamation point should come outside of that. So or add a new one by let's see, exclamation point string palette yeah, so here's the text. Add what example do we want to be? We want to go with an example of something. Let's say I don't know, sunny, and then sunny would be sunlight, we'll call it, and it will be orange, red, dark red. So, for example, I'll just grab that color and see. Let's just make sure, because if I'm going to put a thing in here that instructs people how to do this, I want to at least make sure that my example case does the thing that it should. So here we go. Menu. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of sunny to me. That looks like a Looks like a nice orange sunlight kind of effect. I think it looks good. So yeah, that's a valid color palette that looks nice. And actually, just to make this look a little bit better, red, dark red, red, sunlight. Give it title casing, and inside of app.cs, we are going to add in the palette command. Coding Gorilla. You've never seen like some of those things when the sky's just kind of like those colors, you know, like you've never seen like oranges along a skyline. I don't know, it feels kind of sunny and interesting to me. Like, you know, like not, I should say like not sun in the sky, but like it's not like above you. It's like, you know, making interesting colors as it's like, I don't know if that'd be like, because you can probably see it both rising or setting some nice oranges like that. What was I doing? Yes, it's live. Palette. 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 What's the ones that... Do these other ones just break? They do nothing. Okay, cool. So that should no op, yeah. That also no ops. So good. Everything is doing what it should. Those ones do nothing, everything else just sends in help text. List available palettes by palette list, or add a new one by palette, add sunlight, orange, orange red, red, dark red. So maybe that would be like sunset, might be a better word. We'll call it sunset. Maybe I've got the colors backwards, I don't know. It seems kind of like it to me, like that kind of... Just made you think of Superman? That's weird, Coding Gorilla. That's weird. That's not Superman's colors at all. He's like red and blue. He doesn't have any orange on his outfit at all. Yes, I know, it was a joke about, like, red sun. Yes, exactly. But our sun isn't yellow, it's white! It's white! Yeah, no, Coding Gorilla, I know the reference you're making, but our sun's not yellow. It's white. You didn't write the comics or the cartoons. No. Every afternoon. So the thing you're talking about is that the actual color tint that we see here is technically a green color. So every afternoon is correct. The sun's light as it gets here, I believe, does tint green actually, not yellow technically. It is like a very yellowish green. And in addition to that, the trick is that the sun is actually white. So the sun is white, which really for anybody that knows how like light color works, so like, you know, not pigment color but light color, white means all colors. So That's actually what is there. And then what you end up seeing when you're getting different colors, so like when you see other colors for it, what that means is that the other colors are getting removed, is the idea, from the light. So you're seeing what's left is kind of the concept. So it's kind of a neat little thing. Physics, it's fun. Now the reason I pulled this out is this is going to be a setting based on these values here. So wherever this comes from, that's where this value needs to be. So, yep, cool stuff there. Cool stuff. Alrighty. Well then, couple of things. So, if you are new here, welcome. If you've been enjoying the stream at all, make sure you click the follow button to make sure you get notified when we go live. Just as a bit of an intro thing, my name is Brendan. This channel here is DevChatter. I go by Brendonius a lot of places on the internet, even here on Twitch, so you'll actually find me around with that name. So if you see that, that's me. I just use the DevChatter community is just where I host my live coding stream. If anyone is interested in chatting with me outside of the streams, so not in the Twitch chat while we're live, best place to do that is our Discord, which is linked over there in the chat. There are actually a bunch of us over there. It's a really nice community, very friendly. So, good group of people. If you want to see any of the code that we work on stream, this program's not, but almost all of it is over in our GitHub. You can find it, github.com/devchatter. Additionally, I want to make sure that you all know that all the live streams we do here on DevChatter are actually archived out, both temporarily here on Twitch in the videos section, but also they are archived. All 206 previous episodes are over on YouTube. I have those go live on a bit of a delay, so every few days there's a new one that goes live, and you can find those over there. And so there's lots of fun stuff. In addition to just having our live streams archived over on YouTube, I have also started doing some actual videos that are like, well, I'll just tell you about them. There are DevChatter Basics episodes, and essentially each episode is supposed to be about some basic concept. So the idea being basic doesn't mean easy to understand. It doesn't mean simple. It means it is a base piece. It is, you know, a foundational bit of information that understanding that can help you understand more things inside of the languages that we use here on the stream. So I'm starting out by mostly doing C# stuff. So we're just going to do one of those just basic concepts each time, and that is how the series is essentially going to go. So I am working on episodes for that, and they'll be going out. I'm hoping to, you know, just have one go out every week, but we'll see how that timing goes on those. Maybe I'll have the pace go faster. Maybe the pace will go slower. Don't know yet. We'll just see how it turns out. A couple of things I do want to mention. If you are new here, we do our streams here a few times a week is what we target. So the schedule is Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I mostly post in our Discord information about when exactly we're going to be going live and things like that. I do also occasionally post that information out on Twitter, so feel free to follow me there as well, as that's a good place to get those kinds of notifications. And lastly, we are going to be rating someone else, and something that I want to mention to everyone is that so first off, don't go anywhere, because rating is actually an awesome thing to do inside of Twitch. The advantage of rating is that it is a good way for us to make sure that we meet other people out there and kind of promote the whole community. So I'm not asking all of you to stick around and definitely go over and hang out in that channel, but what I do want to ask you to do is at least go along, check out that channel, and say hi, and decide whether or not you want to continue watching it. If you do, cool, awesome. Stick around, watch the stream. I would never rate a channel that I didn't think that you would find interesting, so we'll always make sure that we're rating channels that I think you'll like. And The idea is just go over, say hi, and just be friendly. If you watch it for a few minutes, don't want to hang out, that's totally cool. And it's a nice way to help build the community, though. So hopefully you'll follow along, and we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to roll our credits here, and then while the credits are rolling, the raid will be prepping, and we'll have the outro screen and everything like that, and then head on over. So, first off, I want to make sure that I thank everybody that hung out today. So thank you for hanging out, viewing, anything like that. I want to thank our moderators for helping out with the stream today. In addition, I want to thank everybody that followed and our subscribers. So whether you were chatting or just viewing, anything like that, thank you very much for hanging out today. I thought it was enjoyable, and we did some interesting things with our program. We added in a couple of cool new features. And either way, hoping to see you all in 2 days on Thursday. We start a little bit early on Thursdays, so I'll see you in... if you look at your clock, subtract 4 hours and 45 minutes, that's roughly our scheduled start time on Thursdays, but just because it is so early, I do often end up starting that one late. But either way, have an awesome one. We're heading over to Gareth's stream, and I will see you next time. Happy coding, everyone.
Want to be? Can I have...
Rank up. Hold the line. This hamlet shall not fall.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all.